As I was growing up, our family table was fairly lively and full. And it wasn't whether it was just my immediate family or the extended family. It was the highlight of each one of our days. Time around the table was, it was our connection time.
My memories around the table are rich, although the funny thing is, it's not that I have a lot of individual memories. Maybe that's just because my mind is old and I don't remember things as much as just the fact that it was so central and we always did it. It's like remembering what I ate at the meal. I can't remember a lot of meals, what was fixed, but I remember that if I hadn't eaten those meals, I would be dead. And I think if we hadn't gathered as a family around the table, we wouldn't be a family.
Probably our best memories of all of our family members were around the table, that face-to-face encounters, hearing what people have to say, people hearing what's on their hearts, hearing about their days, seeing what their face looks like as they tell the story, and seeing their sorrow, seeing their joy. And particularly in a Christian family, the quality of the presence of Christ being there, where he promises where two or more are gathered, and it's true around the table. There's a quality of relationship that happens there, I believe, because he's present, because he's good to his word.
I just think it's been fun to watch the boys grow, starting out as, well, and just with one of them, but just as infants, and how that can just be a messy time, and then as they grow. And one thing we always do is we always hold hands when we pray. And I have just loved over the years, every once in a while it'll just strike me that, oh my word, their hands feel so much bigger in my hands.
There's usually more than just our family there. There'll usually be somebody else there, whether it's a neighbor or just a friend or somebody.
Remember George one time, he didn't get any food.
Oh.
Remember?
Yeah.
He was so quiet. He was just sitting there. He never said a word. And it was the food's going here and there, and you're clearing the plates. And we look over, and George doesn't have any food.
For me, sometimes it's the only time I actually see the people in my family. It's like, oh yeah, I do have a mom and a dad. So it's nice, and we just kind of collectively sit down and we talk about our days, and we share the funny stories of the day, and then we make comments about the funny stories, and we're always laughing, which is so much fun. It's so good to just sit with your family and laugh.
I grew up in a context where our home was always open for whoever needed to come for a meal. My parents were missionaries in North Africa, which is a culture of hospitality. And so they diligently tried to learn how to be hospitable in the Arab fashion. And that just involved not ever turning anybody away or not ever getting stressed about who would come. And so our table was always very different from day to day because of who might be there. And of course, their stories, their life would inevitably, be shared around the table.
So I have dear friends who've included me to be a part of their family and to be around their table, and I love to be there because it reminds me a lot of my own extended family, and it's the same thing. Everyone is there. You wait for everyone to be there. There's joy there, there's laughter there, sometimes there's tears there. It's where real life happens.
I learned that from my mother-in-law, how important it is to be around the table. And my father-in-law was a doctor, and she said early on, she said, honey, dinner's at 6 or 5, and I don't care if you come home, eat, sit around the table, and leave, but this is really important. And I picked up on that. And Gig doesn't remember, but I was remembering the very first time I met his family, and it was around the dinner table. And my mother-in-law, it was elegant and very special. And I thought, I want that for my family and whomever comes in the door.
That's an interesting point, because I was the youngest in our family, so I had been out of college for more than 3 years by the time we got engaged. So the table had sort of disbanded. But when I went to Maine, she's the oldest of 4 children, so the table was very much still in function at the other house. So I would say I joined their table more than she joined mine. So.
And I remember Andrew, I don't know where he was at the time, but I remember him calling home and saying that he missed that feeling of community. And I was struck with, oh my goodness, around the table is community.
Almost as if there's something that happens at the table that brings us to the heart and center of our faith, what it's really about. It's about communing with God and each other. It's not about communing with God alone. It's not just about communing with each other. It's about doing that together, living life together. And the table is the place where, I think everything stops for a while.